Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Rich here, and this week I thought I'd take a look at the Shogun Sport. I've not featured it for about 6 months, and it's one of those cars that it's the everyday go-to car that sort of does everything and we sort of forget about. But I thought it'd be interesting to give you my views on the good and the bad points with associated to this Gen 1 Shogun Sport. Welcome to another fast and fun video. First of all, I'm going down a bumpy forest track, so probably to try to show you its off-road ability, but probably not the best thing to have done, I suppose, with regard to trying to do a video, so I hope it's not too bouncy on here. I thought I'd start off with the dislikes. First of all, it's agricultural type of engine. So this 2.5 litre turbo diesel, it's noisy, it's unrefined, it feels coarse at times as well, and the whole car drives more like a sort of a commercial vehicle, because in theory that's what it is, and it's certainly not, although it's a sports utility vehicle, for me this is you've got to think of it as a scaled down 4x4 rather than an upscaled road car. So noisy, a little bit unrefined, a little bit agricultural, which leads on to my second point, is about the power plant. I went for the 2.5 litre turbo diesel. In the UK you can get the alternative is the 3 litre V6, which I'm assuming is far more refined. The 2.5 diesel it's slow, and that's not slow in relation to my other 5 sports cars. That's in relation to probably 1 litre Fiestas and 1.2 Corsas. This is a slow truck, a slow vehicle by any sort of standards. 0 to 60, I don't even know, because larger when you've got to 60, 65, you're running out of puff in one of these anyway. So, as I avoid some of these massive holes. So yeah, it's slow. Don't expect to take on anything at the traffic lights. And just be expected in gear, sort of that 30, 40, 50 mile and that 50 mile an hour acceleration points. You just need an age to be able to overtake anything in this car. Most of the time you're just trying to keep pace with the cars. Leading on from that is, and it's like a 4x4 course this, leading on from there is the refinement on the motorway. It's not got that 6th gear, so 5th gear really feels noisy. It's well, put it this way, when I went up to Scotland, which was hours and hours and hours on the motorway, I normally settled at about 65 miles an hour, and that seemed to be okay there. It was bearable. When I pushed up to 70, it was okay still, but it did start getting very, very noisy, very unrefined. The revs were quite high as well, and I think a 6th gear really missing for the motorway. Now I know it's not a motorway car, I fully appreciate that. Rarely does this go on the motorway, but you do have the odd time that you want to take the car on longer journeys, like when I went to Scotland. Just be aware, it's not at all at home on the motorway. Other things I don't like about it, fuel consumption's another one. The best I've ever returned is 27, which is pretty reasonable, pretty good. But that's the best ever in 18 months and 7,000 miles. Reality is low 20s. 20, 21, 22 is all you're likely to get in the 2.5 turbo diesel. I compare that to my previous 4x4, which was a full-blown Shogun Pajero import with a 2.8 diesel. Much better unit in that car, more refined, and used to get just the same, if not slightly better, MPG. This is smaller engine. I think you just got to work it harder, therefore it suffers on the MPG. So yeah, don't expect great MPG on this, which for everyday practicality can sort of hurt at the pumps when you seem to be putting diesel in it all the time. Just been interrupted by this steep incline that I'm just traversing up now, and I must admit this is what the car does absolutely love, but we'll come on to the likes in a minute. Just finish off on the dislikes. Size of it, because it's a scaled down Shogun, it is a smaller car, and you've got to accept that it's smaller. Not so much felt in the front, but in the back it is. Certainly if you've got 3 adults, not a lot of leg room, you're going to be shoulder to shoulder. And again, the other annoying feature I think is when you drop the rear seats to become more of a versatile sort of for larger loads, time and time again I get the big loads in the back, I want to slide them forward and I can't do, because when you've dropped the rear seats, there's a flipping 6-8 inch lip because they don't fold into the floor. I know that's more of a modern day thing nowadays, but it can be quite annoying because you slide it in, then you've got to walk around the front, and you've got to have someone pushing from the back, and you're trying to lift from the front through the rear doors. Just things like that. Again, it just loses some of the practicality terms when you're trying to get big loads in there that might be heavy when you've got that lip between the boot and the folded rear seats. But that's enough of the negatives, because actually there's quite a lot of positives with regard to this car. There are lots and lots of good things with this car though. I think first of all, if I start off by saying, although I said one of the negatives with the way it was very sort of commercial, agricultural, but that gives you a bit of sort of robustness with the car. The way I explain it to friends and family is it's more like the old Tonka toy from the sort of 80s. It's a toy that you never really cared for, you left it in the garden through all weathers, but you know what, every year you used to go out, you used to play with it, and whatever you did, you could throw it across the garden, you could stand on it. Tonka toys are just made to be used and abused, and they just continue to work. This is exactly like this truck. It just feels like, do you know what, they don't have to be cared for, you don't have to look after them, but they'll continue to start, they'll continue to deliver what you need. Which leads on to my second point about, I think, reliability. This one, as I say, it's a 15, 16-year-old truck, 17 nearly, and it just continues to impress all the time. Again, this is not sat on easy roads. This is forest tracks, fields. It gets a good mixture, as well as roads. It gets a good mixture of use. And I think 2 things I've had in the 7,000 miles. One was a snap bolt on the alternator pulley, which was when I went up to the Isle of Mull. And the second one was a sticking braking caliper. And actually I had a third one as well, a battery. So those are the 3 things that I've had, all really simple fixes that cost very little to put right. And do you know what? I've got no issues with this car. I expect it to service it every second year. I expect it to run and run and run. That's why a lot of these don't come on the market, because people buy these, certainly people like myself in rural communities, the dependable type of car. I'll just use it all the time, use it and abuse it, and it'll just keep working. And that's, I suppose, my third point is around durability. As in, I just think this will last until probably corrosion and rust takes hold. That's what got my previous 2 Shoguns over the last sort of 7-8 years. This one's much tidier, much cleaner. It definitely had a more sheltered life in its early stages than it's probably getting with me, as you can see, going through some of these ruts. So yeah, really, I'll probably never sell the car. Don't think I'll ever need to sell the car. I think as long as it keeps starting and does what I need to do, then it'll just be used and abused until the day it finally gives up. But I just think that'll be years away, touch wood, hopefully anyway. Is, for me, I didn't want a sports utility vehicle, SUV, that was great for road, but poor off-road, because I want it to be able to go up these forest tracks, I want it to be able to go into the fields, I want it to be able to use off-road, because mostly nowadays SUVs are road cars that are just pumped up. Well, this is a true 4x4, it's very, very good off-road as well, it's great for the forest tracks, and as I did a video I think last winter in the snow and ice in one of the fields, which I'll put a link up there somewhere to that, off-road, on-road tyres, incidentally, which I think was a key point. It was absolutely brilliant. And I've never had an issue. I've had to put it to four-wheel drive at times, and put it to low ratio as well. But I've never had a problem of getting stuck in this. So hats off to Mitsubishi for creating this great all-round car, because on road it's okay, off-road it's absolutely great. And then the final, I think, point for me is value. These are great value for something that is off-road capable, that is going to largely be reliable. You can pick up these from, well, a good one, 2 to 3k will get you a good one. You could pay a little bit more to get excellent. You could probably pay a bit less to go with a bit more faults and issues. But I think 2 to 3k is a fair price, and it was that range that I bought this for 18 months ago. I don't think it's lost a penny at all. I still think that offers great value for money compared to some of the other 4x4s in the markets. After all, it's a Mitsubishi, it's Japanese, really, really reliable, and it'll do what people that buy these cars need. So there we go, off the forest track, back on a single track lane now, a little bit smoother I hope. So what's the summary? I think if you're interested in buying one of these, all depends what you want. If you want something that looks smart, it's quite trendy, funky, powerful, luxurious, probably go and buy yourself a Range Rover. If you want something that is slow but reliable, dependable, you can keep it till the day you die and it'll just keep going, but is a bit rough around the edges, Mitsubishi Shogun Sport Gen 1. For me, one of the value 4x4s on the current market. And regarding to SUV, this is a proper SUV, is in regard to, think of it as the miniature 4x4 rather than a road going pumped up car made to look like a 4x4. I'll be keeping this, probably never sell it. Never sold my previous Shoguns because they just Rust got them. Probably never sell this. And I looked on the market actually yesterday on Auto Trader. There's a handful, about 10 or so I think, on the market nationally. Unbelievably low numbers for one of these cars, and I think that's why people buy these. Certainly in the rural community, there's 2 or 3 other owners near me that have got these cars, and if you don't want the full fat 4x4, it really gives you that, I think, right balance between on-road, off-road, and lots of reliability built into the car. There you go. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, thumbs up if you did, please. Subscribe, please. And stay tuned. Another video coming up very, very soon.